Peace, Panda Amanda. Hey, good morning, or good day, good night, whatever time of day it is that you're watching this. For me, it is morning, so I will say good morning. And I thought that today I should do another tarot card reading for myself. I just have a lot of questions, and I think that it might be a good time for me to see what comes up in the cards, just because I will accept all the help that I can get, cosmic or otherwise. So just a quick reminder, we do still have our same tools that we used in the first video, but in case you haven't watched that one, we'll go over it again. The tarot card deck that we will be using is this one here. It's the Giant Rider-Waite Tarot deck, designed by Pamela Coleman Smith, and it's distributed by US Game Systems Inc. And to help us along with this reading, because this is quite literally the second time that I've ever done a tarot reading, and yeah, I literally know nothing about it. So this book here called The Mystical Tarot, it is by Rosemary Ellen Guiley, and it's a really great reference. You know, it has all the cards in here, what they represent, as well as some tips and tricks, and just like help that I very obviously need while doing this. Okay, so before we get started, I think I will light my candle just to get a good ambiance going. Smoking. Held it on its side for just a little too long. That's okay. I like the crackling noise that it makes. Brings me happiness. It's the little things. Okay, so I'm going to need a reminder here. I know that I still need to do the deck, and I remember from last time that it's very difficult to use the whole deck. There's just so much more going on with it. So we are only using the major arcana cards, I believe it was. That is purely from memory, so I could be 100% wrong. I'll correct myself if I am. But yeah, it's supposedly going to give a better, more in-depth reading just by using that set of cards instead of the whole set, which would include the minor arcana, I believe. I don't know, clearly not an expert. Don't trust me on anything I say with this. But let's get into it. I'm going to turn to the page where our formation is. Again, we will be using this one. It is the Celtic cross. So you start in the middle and then go down and then over, up here, and then start down here and go up. So each card is going to represent something specific in terms of where it's placed in the formation, as well as what the card itself is. So you've got a lot of factors going on here. Okay, so now I'm going to shuffle my cards and get them into the order that we'll be using them in. Okay, so the cards are all shuffled now, and before we start pulling them, we do have to ask the cards and be very clear intentioned in what answers we're looking for today. So I've been having this on my mind, which is what brought me here to do this reading today. And last week, a week ago from recording this, I had a date, which maybe ordinarily wouldn't be so scandalous, and I guess it wasn't, but it was someone that I had known for a short amount of time, and I've just been struggling to find someone that I am truly like compatible with in a way that makes me feel safe and excited at the same time. I feel like on that gradient, a lot of people are either too exciting and I'm exhausted, or they're too safe and I'm bored. So long story short, I thought this guy had a fairly good balance, but it didn't work out. There was a lot of things and red flags that I noticed while we were on our date, and I tried really hard to look past them and essentially get over it, to attempt to make things work, and I just couldn't do it. So I've been feeling really down on myself about it, and don't get me wrong, I mean, the things that I was telling myself to look past were pretty big things, and pretty reasonable things, you know. If like, I don't feel bad about that, but I am so picky, and it just makes me wonder, like, if I'm ever going to find someone that I can really call my person, that I want to spend life with. And I'm not getting any younger. I just turned 33 a few weeks ago, from the time this was filmed. So, you know, I don't know, I feel like I'm getting old and I can't be so choosy. What's that saying? beggars can't be choosers. Like, I'm a beggar and a chooser, so it's not working out very well for me. All right, so I'm not gonna talk anymore. Let's get started, but my question is, will I find my perfect match? Perfectly imperfect. There are some things that I'm willing to settle on, but the non-negotiables, will I ever find this bare minimum being as I picture him in my head? Let's find out. Okay, I'm just going to cut the deck and put it back together from my shuffle. I need to get my book back out, and let's go over what the first card means, okay? This first card that we're going to be pulling is called the Cover. It represents the forces covering, influencing, or surrounding the person asking the question, aka me. So my cover card is a reverse card, and it is the Emperor. So that card goes this way, I believe. Nope, just kidding. So that card we're going to place here, the Emperor. Let's see what it means. Okay. The reversed meaning of this card says, your focus is too narrow. You use the rule of law to shield yourself from the truth. You say, I know it's wrong, but it's the law. Or, I agree with you, but my hands are tied. You may need to listen more to your internal voice. Logic speaks only for your head, not your heart. Wow. Shots fired on card number 1, huh? I hear you. So what this is telling me is that the biggest force, strongest force, I guess, influencing or covering me and my question, it's that I don't keep an open mind, and that is absolutely true. I am searching for something very specific that I am convinced that is right for me, and if someone doesn't fit into that very teeny tiny little box, then they're not allowed in. So I think this is going to be something that I perhaps regret, but anyway, let's move on, okay? So that was card number 1, my cover. The second card is called the Crossing, and the Crossing represents the immediate obstacles, influences, or opposing forces that lie ahead. Influences may be positive or negative. The rest of the spread will indicate which applies. If the card has negative implications, you should try to interpret them in a positive way for the seeker. To fully interpret this card, it must be read not only in the context of the whole spread, but also in its relation to the number 10 card, which represents the final outcome. So this is a card that we will pull now, but we're probably not going to read into its meaning just yet because we can't accurately tell what it's going to mean until we see the other cards. Okay, so this card is going to go here on top of it. Okay, not the card I thought I was going to see. My crossing card is the Death card, which, you know, isn't always bad. It might represent new beginnings, death of old ways, perhaps. So we're, again, not going to go read this card. We're just going to move on and pull card number 3 so that we can really know what this death card is supposed to be representing for us in this reading. Okay, so the next card is going to represent the foundation, and the foundation or the basis for the seeker's question, things that existed in the past that have now become part of the present and are the reason for the question even being asked. So let's see. The Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Oops. Can we get it without a glare, maybe? Okay, there we go. So Wheel of Fortune in reverse. That one's going to go here. Let's see what this one means. So the reversed meaning is that it says you are stuck in a rut, just spinning your wheels or running on a treadmill. You know what happened the last time you did that. Things may take a turn for the worse before they get better. You are only in a phase. It won't last forever. Let's hope so. Because I don't want to be in this rut. I definitely recognize that I am, and I think it's just because, I don't know, in terms of my love life and relationships, 2.5 years ago, I ended a 11-year-long relationship that was very serious, and I ended it not because he was a bad guy or anything. It was just that it wasn't what I wanted, and it hit me one day that, you know, it had been 10 years or more than 10 years at that time, and what did the next 10 years look like, and was I going to, you know, look back on our life and be satisfied or filled with regret. And so I thought that I needed to, I don't know, go in search of, you know, I truly feel that life should be lived and enjoyed and not just a source of being content, you know. I don't know, I didn't want to feel like I settled, I guess, is how that happened. So here I am 2.5 years later. I have gone on dates, but I haven't dated anyone. I've met some people that were great, and some people that were not so great. And I've learned that timing is everything, and sometimes you can meet the perfect person but the timing's not right, or the circumstances, like, long distance situations. I'm thinking of one person in particular that's honestly everything that I need and want, but they're just not accessible to me. They live halfway across the country, and it makes me sad. That's all I'll say about it. So before I get too emotional about it. So the next card is the fourth card in the spread, and it represents what has passed. Influences on the seeker that are in the process of passing away or are already in the past. Oh my gosh, I'm probably not gonna say this right. That's of course what I'm concerned about. I have pronunciation issues, so please don't come for me. But my fourth card is this one, the Hierophant, something like that. Read it for yourself if you don't agree with my pronunciation. And that's going to go here. So this card says, there are many ways of regarding the Hierophant. I'm just going to say it like that, Hierophant, because I'm probably going to say it a lot in this little reading, and I'm sorry, that's all I can say. Depending on your personal view of religion and its role in your life. According to classical interpretation, the Hierophant is the link between God and man, the high priest on earth. His are the ways of tradition. Perhaps a more fitting interpretation for our modern age is to see him as the channel between divine knowledge and ourselves. He is our spiritual guide who transcends the material world. He is our teacher. He can unlock the doors of hidden knowledge. He can help us get closer to the truth. He can help us see meaning in life. He can help us discover the God that exists within each of us. Either way, the Hierophant can be an important element in our lives, particularly as a reminder that we cannot grow if we limit our pursuits to material satisfaction alone. Okay. Oh boy, that one hurts. Our spiritual side needs nurturing too. The Hierophant will help us in this quest. The path we choose on this quest is personal. It can be through avenues that traditional religion provides, such as prayer and following the tenets of our personal faith. For others, meditation, contemplation may be the better way. The Hierophant can also serve as a beacon in the night, guiding us toward the next level of evolution of our own consciousness. On another level, the Hierophant represents our moral growth and development, the knowledge of the true right and wrong, not that imposed by the rule of external law and order. But like the Emperor, the Hierophant reminds us that there are consequences from deviating from the true path. He suggests that there is a higher authority to whom we must answer. The card may be a signal that we should take account of our spiritual stock, or perhaps it's a reminder that we need to recognize the limitations when we are too grounded in the material world. In his guise as the keeper of the old ways, the Hierophant could be telling us we would be wiser to follow a more orthodox approach to a problem at hand or a question we're trying to answer. Okay, so that represents what has passed or in the process of passing. So this one I'm a little bit confused about. I am fairly spiritual in non-traditional ways. I don't necessarily practice a organized religion. I grew up that way, going to church, and it was a Unitarian church. They were very focused on the morality of religious beliefs, and just telling the stories from the Bible. So, it was a good foundation for me to really learn right from wrong in what sits right with your spirit kind of way, or how your soul feels about judgment, and doing what is right. So I don't know, I guess this card would be applicable. The part that really stuck out to me rather, is that it says that this card can also serve as a beacon in the night, guiding us toward the next level of evolution of our own consciousness. That does resonate with me, because I do feel a little bit blind or stuck in a very dark night where I need some kind of guidance. I need direction. I feel like I can't leave it up to my own devices anymore, that's not doing me any favors, and perhaps I think I know what I want, but I really don't. And I tend to focus a lot on physical attraction. And maybe this card is telling me that that is something that is going to be passing away, for me, because perhaps I'm not going to find who it is that I'm looking for, just by judging the book by its cover, right? I like to think that I don't actually do that. I think that people can become very attractive based on their personality, but perhaps maybe I don't give people the chance to prove it. So, okay, that's interesting. Let's move on. Okay, so the next card represents what may come to pass. It says some event that might take place in the future, perhaps influencing the outcome of the question. This card deserves special attention because it points to forces taking shape which may or may not manifest depending upon actions taken by the seeker. You will want to help the seeker make the most of potential opportunity or take steps to overcome obstacles. Again, look to 10 card look to the 10 card for additional insight. So this one we can look into now and know a little bit about, but we'll have to revisit it when we pull the 10th card. Okay, so what may come to pass? Interesting. It's the Strength card in reverse. Okay. So the reversed meaning of the Strength card says lacking confidence or lacking self-confidence, questioning your abilities. Am I up for this? Need to believe more in yourself. Don't look outside yourself for what exists within. Time to silence your fears. Okay. So in turn, I mean, of course, we have to wait and see what the 10th card is, but this does resonate with me as it stands today. I don't know about a future event that has yet to pass, but I would say that I am probably the least self-confident person that I have ever met. And I am constantly questioning myself and my abilities and feeling that imposter syndrome. I feel that in a lot of aspects of my life. It just feels like an internal struggle for who it is that I want to be and who it is that I am and who it is that I expect myself to be. And that absolutely translates into my companion and who I see myself with, and creating life with, building life with, and that connection. So I'm hoping that what this card means is that I will believe more in myself, that there's going to be some sort of event that takes place that causes me to find my strength, and be just unapologetically me. And maybe that will lead me to the right person to start a relationship with and to be with and support and love, and all that good stuff that comes with it. So, and the bad, I am not opposed to the bad as long as it's bad that I can handle. I've always been a big proponent to choose your hard because everything's hard. Nothing's ever going to be easy. But I think that there are certain levels of hard and ways that it can be hard that that is where the agency is. So choose your hard is my advice. And maybe that's what this card is telling me, is that I need to get some self-confidence. Something's going to happen that will make me see that I am worthy of the love that I seek. Okay, so now we are going to pull the next card. It is card number 6, which represents things that lie ahead, especially influences that the seeker will have to deal with. These are forces already in motion and manifesting in the life of the seeker. If changes are desirable, look to cards 3, 5, and 10 for inspiration. Okay, so my 6th card is Judgment in reverse. I'm gonna put that one here. Going the wrong way. Okay, found it. Sorry. So, the reversed meaning of the Judgment card says, unable to see the purpose in your life, the shackles have been broken, but you won't let go. Closing your mind to the new possibilities, shunning responsibilities, turning a deaf ear to a call to action. Okay, so that is telling me what? Card number 6, what I must face. So I am going to have to face my judgment and really take stock of my life, and I need to let go. I need to let go of a lot of things. I am holding on to a lot of things that I'm sure are preventing me from progressing and really achieving what it is that I'm looking for. Self-sabotage is like a very real thing for me. So I think that this is telling me that I need to get I need to find my purpose in life, or maybe I've already found it. I'm just not allowing myself to see it. And I think that this card to me is representing that I have some personal work to do before I can even enter into a healthy relationship or commitment with this person that I'm looking for. So yeah, okay. The next card is card number 7. It represents what you feel, the emotions, including fears and apprehensions the seeker has about his or herself or the question. Okay, so my 7th card, what I feel, is the Fool. How appropriate. I feel very I don't know how I feel about that card. Let's read it before I get too offended. I mean, it's absolutely accurate. Let's not get too crazy here, but like, really? That's not the card I was expecting to see. Oh, it's the very first one. Okay. All right, so it says, who but a fool would leap headlong into the void, seemingly uncaring about the potential dangers, trials, and challenges that lie ahead? The fool's innocence is also his charm and what makes him so attractive. The fool is untouched by life, but ready for the experience. He represents purity of action. There is no time for analysis or strategy. He doesn't look behind him, he only looks forward. The fool needs no encouragement to begin the journey. He does not need to test the water. He'll find out when he steps in it whether it is warm or cold. What about the rest of us? We all can think of thousands of reasons in any given situation why we should not take action or commit ourselves. Not the fool. He stands poised on the precipice, ready to jump without hesitation. He lives for the future. Nothing holds him to the present. His motives are pure. He seeks to discover. His quest is for life, and he is willing to give it a chance, come what may. The fool lives to live. Life has not left its mark or scars on the fool. He is not yet connected to anything in this world. His few possessions are in a bag tied to a wand which rests against his shoulder. They do not weigh him down. They are behind him. Unlike those of us who have been tested and think we possess great wisdom from our experiences, the fool cares not to hear the warnings. The fool frightens us a little because nothing frightens him. He is a liberated spirit. The fool is a believer in all things, especially the potential that life holds. But ask him to be elaborate, and he'll smile and say, "Find out for yourself." His source of knowledge comes from inside. He trusts his instincts. He instinctively knows. The card tells us to take the plunge, follow our heart, listen to the inner call. We are being told to face the risks, even tempt fate. The card also reminds us the power of our imagination and our dreams. The message is simple. All things are possible. Okay. To be honest, that's not quite what I was expecting to read with this card. I thought it was going to be more about being foolish and making bad choices, or naive choices, I guess. I'm not sure how I feel about this card now that I've read it and if it really resonates, but in terms of my emotions, I mean, I am a little foolish in the sense that I have hope, you know, relating it back to my question. Like, I do think all things are possible. I really don't think that what I'm asking for is that ridiculous in terms of a partner, but I don't know, based on my experience, like, this is the part that I don't agree with, because I do feel like I have been tested a lot, actually, and I don't know, but again, I do hold back a lot. And it says that, you know, this card tells us to take the plunge and follow our heart, and that is not something that I do very often. I'm a little bit more calculated than that. I overthink everything, so I'm not typically one to be spontaneous until I'm like there's something that causes the scales to be out of balance that makes me go there. Like I feel so desperate that I force myself to do something crazy and spontaneous that I ordinarily wouldn't do. But I feel like I need to take that risk or it'll never pay off. You know, if you don't take the risk, then you never get the reward. So I do tell myself those things sometimes, and I know it's something that I do need to work on. So I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Let's move on. The next card is card number 8. It represents what others think, the opinions of others, especially family, about the questioner and the situation being examined. So, what others think, the opinions of others, is represented by the Lovers card. Interesting. This is honestly not one that I have seen before in all my time, my 2 times of tarot reading. So let's see what it means. Okay, so it says, on its simplest level, the lovers represent the act of union between the male and female spirits. Man and woman together are a potent creative force. On another level, the card speaks to the next stage of a development, the point at which we move forward to begin building for the future with another. A third meaning relates the male and female sides to a personality that exists within each of us, men and women alike. The male side represents the intellect, which is linked to the outer world through conscious thought and reason, whereas the female is our connection to our unconscious self. The card also acknowledges the emergence of sexuality within each of us, a change in our physical bodies and emotional and intellectual framework that both separates man from woman and at the same time creates the dynamic tension that draws us together. Similar tensions exist within ourselves as we try to live in both the external and unconscious worlds simultaneously. Finally, man and woman united and in the Rider-Waite image blessed by the angel Raphael give a sense of harmony and balance. This could symbolize the harmony within ourselves, with both our emotions and intellect in balance, or a balanced relationship. Even with these different meanings, there is a thread that binds them all together, and that is the power of love in our lives, both to create and to destroy, both the love of ourselves and the love for another. The card also speaks to the dichotomy that exists in our lives on different levels and the constant choices we make. Do we follow our intellect or be guided by our inner thoughts? Is one side of our personality more dominant than the other? And if so, how do we find balance? The card may be a recognition of the absence of love or another person in your life, or that you need to turn to the person you love for help in resolving a problem. It can also be a sense of peace and harmony that reigns in your life, or the need to put things in balance with yourself or with another. Okay. So, this card is supposedly representative of what others think, in particular my family. So all that I can really draw from this card in that context is that my family and those around me love me and they just want me to be happy, and perhaps even they don't know how unhappy I am being solo because of the, absence of another person in my life. So I'm not sure. I definitely think, though, that I know my family loves me, and I know my friends love me, and I know that everyone just wants me to find happiness in a way that brings joy to my life and satisfaction. So I think that that's what that card is telling me. I don't know. Let's move on to card number 9. We have 2 more cards left to pull before we'll see them all. So card number 9 represents what you want, what the seeker hopes will come to pass, aspirations, goals, and dreams. Okay, I pulled the Sun card. This card we pulled last time, but it was in a different place. So let's see what it means. And again, this is what I want, my hopes, my dreams, my aspirations. It says, the sun is the source of life. Its rays nourish our bodies as well as our minds. Without it, existence would cease. When we see the Sun card, we should take a moment to reflect on all that is good in our lives. In symbolic terms, a life without sun would be a life of total darkness. There would be no growth, no happiness. We would exist in limbo. Thankfully, the sun on this card shines brightly. Our time in the sun is our reward for passing through the trial of the night. We emerge into the warm rays of golden sunshine, feeling reborn, renewed, and energized. The Sun card exudes a satisfying, happy, and wholesome feeling. Contentment reigns in our lives again. Optimism is the word of the day. We are triumphant. The sun also means enlightenment and empowerment. With things so brightly lit, we can see clearly, which makes us feel positive about the future. We feel our creative juices at their highest because warmth is also synonymous with feeling secure. We feel more than able to tackle any and all challenges. The sun, which sits at the center of the solar system, means our lives are centered. The sun card depicts children at play. In the sunlight, we are children of the earth, innocent and happy, full of hope and promise, trusting in both life and in ourselves, and filled with a desire to live life to its fullest. The sun means a new day is dawning. Another reason for the image of children on the card. The air is fresh, the sky blue, all is right and well. We are the masters of our fate. In the sun, we are free, free of our burdens, our material concerns. We have traveled far since beginning this journey as a fool, and yet we come to this stop along the way, even younger than when we began. That's because we are young in mind and spirit. Enriched by the past experiences of our lives, we begin a new stage in life on a higher plane, wiser and more confident. We have been reborn many times on this journey, and we will be reborn many times more. So I got a little emotional there for a minute while I was reading this because, again, this is my hopes and my dreams, and it is so true. It's resonating very strongly with me. I have happiness in my life, but I definitely believe that that would be enhanced by having a partner to share it with that I love, that loves me, and faces the challenges together as a team. And just for me as a person, I associate warmth and security with another person. Those are not typically things that I look inside myself for. So, my hopes and my dreams, I'm definitely looking for someone to bring light to my life. And that's the reason for my question. But even further than that, I have been feeling very depressed lately, and I would just love some satisfaction, happiness, wholesome feelings in my life in general. And I'm already working on some ways to create that and foster that. But I believe that a partner can really help bring that out. So, yeah, that's surreal. I can't believe that that's the card that came up. That's so appropriate. All right, so now it's time to pull the final card, card number 10, which represents the resolution, where events are leading depending on what the other cards in the spread have to say. So let's see what it is. Okay, so the card I pulled for my resolution is the Empress. Let's see what that means. Okay. It says, if the High Priestess represents the unseen forces in nature, then the Empress represents the visible manifestation of those forces. She is the fulfillment of the feminine or life-giving power in nature. She is the Earth Mother or Mother Nature. On one hand, she represents fertility, creativity, and growth. She also symbolizes the passage from one stage to the next. She is the reason a seed planted in the soil will germinate and grow, and why it will eventually wither away and die. She is the manifestation of the evolutionary process. She governs the eternal cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. The Empress is a very tangible power, something we can reach out and feel. We can sense the Empress in our daily lives when we look at the natural world that surrounds us. Although she is a material presence, she enriches our soul. Her presence fills our heart with joy when we watch a tree unfurl its blossoms in the spring. She also reminds us of the eternal process at work when we return in the fall to watch the leaves fall from the same tree. In her dual roles as Earth Mother and Mother Nature, the Empress gives and she takes. She does so without prejudice, without judgment. She is the ebb and the flow. She stands for the process of life and its cyclical pattern. The Empress makes our lives fertile so we can grow, in mind as well as body. As the symbol of motherhood, the Empress also stands for compassion and caring. When we welcome the Empress in our lives, she mothers us and looks out for us. Because she represents growth, the Empress also reminds us that not all things stay the same, that the process of life is constant, and that it is all about growing and changing. The Empress can be telling us either to plant a seed or harvest the yield. The Empress can also be a sign of harmony and material satisfaction in our lives that comes from a good, solid grounding in the process of life itself. Okay. So, in terms of my resolution, I think I need to remember that everything in life is temporary, even life itself, and that there are cycles and maybe things feel down and low right now, but they're not going to stay that way, and that a little growth probably wouldn't be a terrible thing. I mean, when is it ever? It's always a wonderful thing. It might be tough to get to, but I could stand some growth for sure. Personal growth, as well as just like maybe what it is that I'm looking for in a partner. It should be a little less vain, perhaps, or that's not really the right word, shallow, vapid, perhaps, because that initial physical attraction is something that's huge for me, and if I don't feel it, then I don't even look twice. Do you know what I mean? So I think that this card is appropriate for me in terms of a resolution. I need to find balance with the natural world and just remind myself that everything's always changing, everything's always temporary, and maybe I don't like my circumstances right now, or it feels hopeless sometimes, but that it will happen exactly when it's supposed to and not a minute before. So I welcome this card as my resolution and would like to go back to card number 2. Remember my, I believe it's called the Crossing card. Yes, the immediate obstacles that lie ahead. And that, again, as a reminder, was the Death card. So let's go and read what that says, and then we can relate it better to the rest of the cards. Death. Okay. So the book says, the Death card strikes fear in the hearts of most people when it should be welcomed. It is not an evil card. It is a card of change, of transformation. It is the darkness that precedes the light, the death that is necessary for rebirth to take place. It is another turn on the wheel of life. Death and life go hand in hand. Both are linked as part of the eternal process. Life ends in death, and from death comes new beginnings. Where the hanged man represents a suspension between two states, death symbolizes the end of the old and the start of something new. Death takes many forms on the physical and mental planes. In nature, the four seasons are a graphic representation of the life-death process that we know well. From the end of winter comes the birth of spring, which leads to summer, then to fall, and back again to winter, over and over and over again for eternity. Our lives are like that too. From the moment of our birth to our eventual death, we pass through different life stages. Each new stage follows from the death of the other. From childhood, we grow to adolescence. From our teens, we enter adulthood. Our middle age passes to our later years. The passage of each stage brings new beginnings, new challenges. Without the force of death, we would stagnate. The wheel would stop turning, and then we might truly be dead. Death is a revitalizing force. It is a cleansing, a clearing away of the old to make way for the new. Just as gardens have to be pruned of their dead growth, so do our lives. We have to cast off old ideas and old ways of doing things that are no longer valid or that apply. We have to embrace the new challenges, opportunities, cut our ties to the past. The death card symbolizes the immortality of our lives while we live them. We should take solace in the fact that nothing is forever, that new doors will always open. We are not locked in place. We can grow in new directions, liberated from our past selves. We should welcome the death card and look forward to the changes in our lives. Death tells us to be open to new adventures about to begin. Okay. I think overall this was a very good reading, and I am humbled by it. I think that it is absolutely true that I'm going to be experiencing a metaphorical death very soon. I think that there are a lot of things that I just don't like about myself and like my default settings from the factory that I need to change them. They're not going to change on their own. I need some of that self-confidence. I want it to. I just want to be someone that is capable of experiencing that joy, because at the moment that is honestly questionable. As I reflect, I know that I have a tendency of self-sabotage, and that's absolutely not healthy for anyone, but for me in particular, it's a real struggle. And I am very skeptical and the type of person that when things are going well, I am constantly wondering what's going to go wrong. I don't allow myself in the moment to enjoy it or appreciate it fully. I just almost look for something to be wrong. Something could maybe not even bother me, but for some reason it's going to bother me that day because I'm happy, and I don't allow myself to be. I get very suspicious when things are good. And I think that that has probably prevented me from being with someone that has, that's really going to make me happy and be a true partner. And, you know, I am just thinking about where I am at in life, and these cards are pointing me in the right direction. I need to just calm down a little bit. Everything will happen in due time. Nothing is permanent, and I will find someone to call my partner, someone to be my person in this life, and that I can grow old with and build a life with, and that will make me happy. Or perhaps I've already found them. You know, that's not in these cards, but my friends and my family obviously love me very much and just want me to find whatever it is that I am looking for, and they will support me no matter what, and that I do know. But I think that maybe I do feel foolish for being at this point in my life and not having as much figured out as I think I should. But yeah, anyways, I feel really good that I did this today. I think I needed it to feel a bit more grounded and just give myself this time of, you know, just contemplation and, you know, reflection, really. Believe what you want. You know, I'm not a huge, like, woo-woo kind of person, but having done this twice now for myself, I really do see some parallels to life, and I am finding it helpful. I know that it's designed that way to be open enough that really in any circumstance you would draw those parallels. So yeah, if nothing else, I really do think that these cards are a great way to self-reflect and goal orientate, you know, towards the future, and look down the path and not just at the step right in front of me, which I tend to do a lot. You know, I like to look towards the big picture future, but I condense it into such a small space, in such a small box that's not open to a whole lot of opportunity. And I know that that's something that's not doing me any favors in life. The further obscured I get from that little teeny tiny picture that I have in my head, the unhappier I get when I'm not necessarily feeling unhappy. It's just not the direction that I feel I should go in. So I don't know. If you're out there and you have any suggestions for me and words of wisdom, I am absolutely open to that. Please let me know if there's anything that you saw in today's reading that you think I should know, if you have more experience in this than I. And if you're a 30-something-year-old, single, tall, dark, handsome, caring, but feisty guy, hit me up. I'm clearly looking. Anyways, I had fun, guys. Thanks for joining me, and I'll show you my whole spread before I go, but we'll do this again sometime. See you later. Bye.